YouTube, so I think I've probably just discovered what my favourite guitar is. I seem to buy lots of them. You see, it's an Encore, an Encore. Again, I ended up, I've go through, so I think I had like 4 of them on my wall. Like two of them were black Encores. One of them was a tobacco burst Encore, and then I ended up buying another one in another charity shop. But I reckon, see, if you're going to learn how to do all this sort of fanning about with pickups and changing bits on a guitar, start with one of these. Just get a message there. Cool. Yeah, so yeah, it's basically just a cheap Strat. The main point I have with these is the necks are pretty good. This is not one of the earlier Indian ones. This has got the normal. You can tell by the string spacing, which I'm going to tell you is, I'm not sure exactly what it is normally. So the string spacing is 56, something like that. The Indian ones, or the Sun Mustangs, which were kind of the same sort of thing kicking about for a while, are a 50mm gap between the strings, which doesn't seem to make that much difference. You know, if you're measuring the string spacing. Don't know how many parts this video is going to be. So if you're measuring the string spacing, oh, we can get it in a shot. Why is the camera's moved? That's why, right? Okay, yeah. So you may just measure obviously the gap between that string and that string if it was there coming in at 55mm. The difference there it makes is when you, by the time you get up to here on those Indian ones, it means that this is thinner, which means that you can't use the neck on any other bodies because the neck's too small to fit in. So you have to make a body, blah blah blah. This is just standard. Is it 55 normal, isn't it? 55mm heel, something like that. So these necks are reusable in other things. I'd first check over on this. You look down, make sure the neck's not twisted, which it wasn't when I literally picked this up. Still got the charity shop tag on the thingy, even says on the bottom. The girl actually asked me what it was to put it under there. So, is that camera high enough resolution to pick it up? Nope, it just looks like a plain white sticker. I wonder, is it a special type of sticker that you can't read on camera? No, it isn't. Why am I doing this? Aye. Anyway, so I'm just going to have a quick check before I take the bits. I'm just going to take the bits and clean it. I'll tell you all the equipment I'm using. So I've got it plugged into my amp. Didn't tune it. It's only got 5 strings. I did check that this saddle is intact. The one with the string missing, and both the grub screws are in it. The tuner's on it and seems to work. Quite often when you get one, oh, it's perfect apart from it needs another string, and it's like, yeah, the reason it's only got 5 strings is because the saddle's missing or the tuner's bent or whatever. This one looks to be alright. So bridge pickup, both, middle, oh, there's a tones on, neck tone, middle tone. Kinda knew it would work. Basically if the pickup's gonna work, you're set, everything's alright. Wee bit scratchy and stuff. So, equipment I shall be using, and this is, I kind of didn't explain it at the start, this is kind of like, if you're going to, don't be thinking, oh, I fancy having an upgrade of my guitar, I'll get my Pride and Joy £600, whatever it was, Mexican Fender, and I'll replace the parts in it. I'll put Seymour Duncan's in it, so I've got my £600 guitar, I'll put £300 worth of pickups in it, and then I'll put £100 worth of tuners on it, and see, doing those things badly, it doesn't work, right? You're better off starting off with a £25 guitar, and then if you want to, I'm not really sure exactly what I'm going to do with this, go mad on Temu, blow 50 quid on fancy pickups and stuff like that, and then actually spend the time, and if you lose anything, you're not really losing, you're not damaging anything, so there's no fear in it, you can be a bit more bravado. Yeah, so this one's working, so I'm going to take the strings off it. The strings are ancient. This, which doesn't, so I was going through my equipment, wasn't I? Yeah, so I've got a string winder, whatever, put it there. That size screwdriver, the big Phillips head, The small Phillips head. This is like a tyre lever thing for taking off door cards on a car, used for taking off the knobs. You could do it other ways. So Mr. Whitesnake did a thing with a tie wrap. You can do that if you want, but if you've already got one of these, and seeing as it's big and red, it's dead easy to find when it's lying on the floor. I've got some, it says lemon oil on it, but it's not lemon oil, it's actually just, I'm just using the container. It's linseed oil, a couple of cloths, one to apply it, one to wipe it off. A couple of these things which you get on eBay or Temu, the fret guard things, and I put some tape on that so I could just go like that and I didn't have to bother taping off the fretboard. I'm just going to do it very roughly. I can't be bothered spending ages at it. Obviously, if this is your own pride and joy, you can spend all day polishing the frets and get them absolutely... I'm just wanting them so they're not pure. Yeah, so take off all the strings. Probably take the back plate off as well. But the thing about these is all the parts kinda... It's fine. So I mean... And this is the cheapest guitar you can get just now that's decent. I mean, you might find ones at similar sort of price, but I'm pretty much thinking if you're looking on Facebook Marketplace, I've got 2 of these in charity shops in the last couple of months. Car boot sales, things like that. Don't be, you know, overwhelmed by it. Okay, it's boring, it's a black Strat. I mean, that's its main gripe, and they're all black. Although I did have a tobacco one, but it was a slightly older one. They vary in age as well. I think they've kind of made the Encore since... I think those, what do you call them ones? I should do a James May and have a wee ice cream tub or something to put all these screws in. I'm just going to here because you can try and poke the strings through the back of the trem, but most of the time it's easier just to take the screws out. I'll also show you how big the trem block is in this. They're alright. I might have to do some alterations to it. I mean, I'm going for basically what I was going to do is I'll put strings on it, do a wee video, and it's like, no, what I'll do is I'll clean it and make it a nice wee guitar. But this is your modding platform. See the people who see this, I'll just buy myself a £150 Harley Benton and then put parts in it. Honestly, and I'm not paid or anything to say this, the quality of the actual... Okay, the tuners, the pickups, the bridge, these things are all replaceable. The neck and the way the neck fits onto the body and how straight the neck is better than a Harley Benton. Straight up. So basically buying this for 25 quid and then spending... And basically doing what I'm doing here and cleaning it or replacing anything that's broken, and it's better than a Harley Benton. So what you've got to do is you've got to try and make it look cool by putting in fancy pickups. I mean, let's not be... You know, let's not... I'm going to use another tool I've not previously been using. I'm using wire snips just because it's... I can't be bothered trying to poke these things through. And I always poke them through first. The number of guitars I get, and you're sitting there and it's like... People always say, oh, I'll just snip the wire off. Where will I snip the cable off? I'll snip it off right at the very base of the saddle so that if you touch that, it cuts you. Oh, I keep getting shredded with guitars that people do that with. You just pick up a bridge and think, oh, there's a bridge, and it's like, oh, no, it's got razor sharp spikes all over it because someone couldn't be bothered taking 2 seconds to cut the strings off properly. They just cut them off and left the ball ends in, and then you sit there with a cocktail skewer or the smallest Allen key trying to poke what's left of the string through them. Just spend the extra 30 seconds taking the thing off and just doing it properly there. I don't have any pissing about there. Right. Bin. And then that one, tune and fill it. You can also take the ball ends off and use them for other things. I've used them for holding up string trees. So, right, can I angle this so I'm actually... So you can actually see what I'm doing. No, let's do it. The 2 camera thing's not really worth it here, but I'm doing it anyway. This, it's like... When you buy a guitar, take this plastic stuff off, because see, once it's been on for 20 years like it is in this, it doesn't like coming off. Normally. To be honest, the electrics in this seem to sort of work, although a couple of the knobs were a bit... shit. But I think stage 1 will be just to make it play and see what it ends up with. But even just think things like adjusting truss rods and messing about with action and all that, do it on a guitar like this. Because then you go like that, you're all right, so I'm going to do some truss rod adjustments on my really fancy expensive guitar. Oh, I've broken the truss rod. How much does it cost to get the fingerboard steamed off and get the truss rod put back in again? £500, £400, something like that. Whereas this, oh, I've messed about with the truss rod and I've broken it. Oh. Well, I'll just put the neck in the bin then. I'm £25 down, but I've got pickups, knobs, tuners. Yeah, all that stuff's got to be worth a tenner. You get a tenner for the body, you know. It's like, and I think these are not plywood either. Am I going to get away with not having to undo all these things? See, this is the sort of thing that I know I'm going to end up having to take off the scratch plate. I don't know. I'm going to take the scratch plate off, sod it. I'll cheat and use my drill though, if I can find it easily. That's it there. Yeah, I'm going to take the scratch plate off just to get these stupid plastic bits off. I'll also give the pots a scoosh with contact cleaner. I don't think this guitar's ever been played. But you can see how, by the way, don't use a drill to take stuff off a guitar unless you're super overconfident like I am. I've done 500 guitars, something like that. 500 Stratocasters I've taken scratch plates off. Or I've taken scratch plates off 500 times because quite often I've taken them off and put them back on again later. Yeah, so there we're getting inside. Nothing really interesting. The good type of the circuit boardy switch, ceramic pickups. All I'm doing here is I'm going to undo these bolts, which I should probably be using my socket set for. See, I keep pulling up things. We're not on my original tip. You can use pliers. Just having the right fit socket is just much easier. It just means I can get the. All I'm doing is taking off this stupid cellophane. Because you can try run round it with a Stanley blade and all that stuff, but it's actually just quicker just to do it like this. So that there, off, back on. This doesn't count as electronic work. There's not much in it. All this stuff was working because I tested it anyway. I'd probably got away with at a drinking jam anyway. How would I get away fine with this guitar just with another set of strings on it? So many guitars. But the thing is that because this had so much cellophane on it, it gives the impression that this was maybe played for a couple of weeks at Christmas and then sat in the corner. The string probably broke and then that was it. It's broken. But it's good to give these things a bit of a life as well. I mean, these wee Encore guitars, it's like there was a period where Encore were not fantastic, but that was kind of when nobody was fantastic in the early 90s, when the race to make the cheapest possible guitar was very much a thing. You get all these, Encore did it as well, plywood guitars with fantastic finishes on them, but they were just really shit. All the parts were crap, but they looked good. You know, it's like the old thing about people just buying stuff because of what it looks like. It's like, I get it, kind of, it's more exciting. This is not an interesting guitar. They've been really boring with it. I'm just scooshing into the controls, put them all the way down, give it a scoosh, put them all the way up, give it a bit of a scoosh. The tones I never use, but I'll scoosh them anyway. I need more of this stuff. Right, that'll do it. It was really just to get that plastic off, because the thing about that is though, when you're sitting playing the guitar like this, and you can hear the plastic go when you're turning it, basically I guarantee that after a couple of days or a couple of hours playing it, I would have taken the scratch plate off just to get rid of the fucking bits of plastic. Right, I'll just drill these back in again, and I'm going to run some, I've got some isopropyl alcohol for in the other list of things that I didn't say I had here to do this. This is all optional stuff. This is what I do with every guitar, pretty much. And the difference this can make to a guitar. See, basically exactly what I'm doing here. The number of guitars I get in, it's like folk are wanting me to change pickups and stuff, and basically, to try and rejuvenate. But that's the thing about putting stuff in a guitar. It doesn't necessarily need it, but are you going to play it more if you've got your fancy thing in it and you want to play it? Yes. So that's, it's like, oh, should I paint my guitar fluorescent pink? I don't know. Should you? If you paint it fluorescent pink, are you going to play it all the time because it's really cool? Well, in that case, yes, it's a worthy upgrade. I suppose you could argue that point with, if I put Seymour Duncans and locking tuners in it, am I going to like it better? Therefore, am I going to play it more? Well, therefore, it's worth it. Is it going to sound better? Yeah, probably. But I mean, that's ultimately it doesn't matter. Oh, that guitar sounds. Oh, the guitar's sounding absolutely amazing. It's the best sounding guitar ever. Oh, I never play it because it weighs a fucking ton. Well, what's the point in upgrading something that's got something else wrong with it? Take something you already like and try and make it a wee bit better. Right. Often there's a... Can I be bothered? If the bridge is pretty manky, can I be bothered? Do I just give it a rub with some... Stick some... It's pretty manky. I'll try some isopropyl, see how it goes. I'm really sitting here thinking, should I be taking all these... It's the only way it works. The only way to do it is to take off the thingies. The saddles. It's like... I can sit there with a toothbrush and try and poke between it, but so the way I normally do this is I just slide these off, but I make sure I keep them in the right order so that I don't need to adjust the heights anymore. But actually the other reason I'm doing this is it's a very common problem with these strats, which I think I can almost see happening. So there's my two saddles, which I'm going to keep like that. It doesn't matter with the screws because they're all the same. I would normally just stick them to a pickup like that because you can store them, but because pickups are magnets. Yeah, but the thing that sometimes happens with these is, see these screws here? The screws that are holding the block on at the back, sometimes they're not tight. That one's alright. But I was basically just doing this to get at the metal, because it will come up quite nicely. If this was like, if you pick this up and this, this was like a really desirable guitar, I would have the guitar down to, completely down to components, and clean it, and that's what I did with all the washburns. That's why the washburns I've got, you look at them and go, oh, that must have cost thousands of pounds. No, it looked shit when I got it. But just things like taking things to bits, this is not one to clean up at all. What's going on? I wonder if hot soapy water is the way to go. What was that? And see, that doesn't look very, I'm going to try and use, where's that wire roll that I had? Come here, with that. I don't think this guitar's ever been played. I think it's old though. It's probably 90s, I would think. It does seem to be cleaning it up much better than the... I think it might be kind of like plastic coating that's on it to stop it rusting in the factory. That's you're meant to wipe off and it's just gone fusty. That's much better. So, hardware store, wire wool. I can't remember what grade it is, it doesn't really seem to matter, they all seem to be good. Yeah, that's better. Right, and then if I just put these back on again, just do 3 at a time. If you can see there, there's wee dents in the plate where you can see where the wee feet for the saddles were. I would start by just putting them back there. Because the chances are it might have been adjusted when it was new, so... Have I just got these the wrong way around? I haven't, no. Right, so... Give me a wee wipe while I'm in there. Yep. Now, as you can see, there's the wee dents. I'm just going to put the saddles pretty much roughly there as a starting off point. Because when this guitar is in an hour or however long it takes me fidgeting with it, whenever I decide to give up, it will play good, I'm sure of it. If that screw wants to actually find the hole in the bottom of the saddle, please. Come on, get the thread. Let's get on here. Should be alright. Should be alright. Oh, I should be working my way out anyway. Easier to get the ones closer together. I'll put that way around. Doesn't really matter which way these springs go round, but because the first 3 were on that way, I'll just leave them. Make the wide end at the bridge end. Come on. I might see if I can find a tremolo arm for this. As usual with any beginner's guitar, I would recommend it if this was your first guitar, pretty much take the tremolo arm out anyway. Hardtail it, because tremolos don't work that great on £1,000 Fender ones. Well, they do. They work all right if they're set up properly. They work okay on a £1,000 Fender. So if they're not set up properly, as in you just paid £100 for a guitar, unless you know how to set it up yourself, I would pretty much say you don't want a tremolo. Also, see my argument for you should buy a Telecaster as your first guitar. The problem is, see if this was a telly, it would be the best guitar in the world. Honestly, I would have 50 of them. Tellies are just that little bit simpler, and basically they're just slightly better guitars. But you'll not find people want a Strat because people go, oh, I want a good electric guitar. What kind of guitar? I want one with a whammy bar. Yeah. Which, I mean, I know because when I got my first guitar, what kind of guitar do you want? I'll have a Strat, it's got a whammy bar. So no, get one without a whammy bar. Or if it doesn't have a whammy bar, just take it out, tighten up the claws in the back. I can't be bothered doing this again. It's a really awkward angle. These saddles just don't seem to want to go back on very easily. So it's dead hard to get them actually hit the right thread. So we can get it to actually take the thread. Let's take the thread now. Oh, just damn fidgety. Another thing that happens as well with working on the sort of cheaper stuff isn't as easy to work on. So you're learning a little bit at the time. But it's just that things like if you're working on an expensive guitar and you start stripping screws and stuff, you know, it's like, oh, I did that, but I forgot to undo that first, and it's like, you fucked it. Dead easy to get bits for this as well. And pretty much any part you buy is going to be an upgrade if you're buying it new. That applies to most of your Harley Bentons as well, or any budget guitar. If you buy whatever the cheapest, what is it, a Squire Sonic, 150 quid or something like that. I bet you if you spent a tenner in Temu and tuners, you could get better tuners, and I bet you if you spent a tenner in pickups, you could get better pickups. Yeah, it does look much better though. 20 minutes. Ah well. This is part of the joy of doing guitars though. It's therapeutic. Better, I normally stick a, but if I hadn't decided to do this video, I'd be watching Andor again. Something you can have, I like, my favourite things for working on guitars is things that have got explosions in it and talking bits. So during the talking bits, you can listen to the talking bits while you're working on the guitar, but if it gets exciting, there's spaceships and explosions, you can look up for a couple of minutes at the fast bit. It was just this Wyatt Willow used to clean this out, because actually when I was working on that, I think the video I said it was the best my favourite Telecaster in the world ever, whatever it was, my pal Peg's purple one. It was awfully satisfying getting it back to clean, because I know for a fact that guitar hasn't looked like that since he bought it. You know, just been, I do get it. I used to spend an awful lot of time, you know, more time playing the guitar in a band than I did fidgeting with it. But once you get old, you end up fidgeting with them more. Right. Now 3 more of these stupid try to get the screw into the back of the saddle. The problem is you've got to try and hold the saddle at a certain angle. The screw doesn't want to go at that angle, so the screwdriver's not going into the screw straight, and as usual, if you spend enough time moaning about it, eventually you're still moaning about it, but you've actually done the whole job. And I'm going roughly for the shape of intonation, which very roughly is zigzag and then zigzag. So the EAD G string is normally just about the same as or slightly longer than the D string as a rough workout. Obviously intonation changes if you're using different types of strings and stuff like that, but in general, you know, if your guitar's pure set up perfectly for 10s and you throw 9s on it, I don't make that much difference. You know what I mean? If you've got it set up for 9s, but set up like one of my RGs, where it's set up like a, or you've got, you know, it's set up with the action at nothing, no action whatsoever, then you've got a wee bit of leeway. If you change strings, you might have to adjust it. But if you've got it kind of normal levels, it doesn't really make any difference. didn't check that that screw was tight. Oh, bastard. But I have fixed guitars before where the problem was that these screws had worked their way loose, the ones that hold the block onto the back. So I see, I got a quarter of a turn on it. Not going to make that much difference because the tremolo arm's not in use, but things go loose after 20 years or whatever. Ah, fuck's sake. 20 minutes with a Malco shouting at freaking stupid screws that won't go in a, you know, this is not, it's not brain surgery. But I mean, I think this is probably a bit similar to being like a mechanic in a car. You know, it's like, oh, how difficult is it to change the brakes? Oh, I don't know. What did you spend most of the time doing? Was it doing the difficult stuff, you know, like the actually knowing what to do, or did you spend most of the day trying to get that fucking bolt out? You spent most of the day trying to get that bolt out, didn't you? Because heating it up, moving it and bending it, and it was just like all these stupid things, you know. The job was replace alternator, you know. It's only 4 bolts and 6 wires. There we go. 4 bolts and 6 wires under 20 years of rust. Yeah. So the longest, or the... I'm just going from experience, and that's kind of the shape you're looking for. That's maybe a wee bit too much, maybe a wee bit less than that, but you kind of, so the longest string is this one, then it gets slightly shorter, and then it gets a wee bit longer again and then it gets shorter. Very roughly, that shape is what you want. Right, so we're now on to fingerboard, which I'm going to clean with isopropyl alcohol because it's, well, it doesn't actually look that manky, but we'll find out. It gets the mank out, and also it kills any, not that there's likely to be diseases in it, although I have seen guitars which look like they might have diseases in them. So this just gets all the oil and shite out, but it kind of makes it come on the surface and it'll look absolutely awful when I've done it. Yeah, so you've got very matte looking wood. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go quick, and I'm doing this really quickly just to get the frets so they don't look shit. I'll just start off with a far away one, and yes, wire wheel sticks to your pickups like mad all the time, so just be careful and just remember to wipe it off. So I'm just literally, I'm only taking a couple of seconds to do each one like that, just enough to. The danger here is that you scratch the scrap fingerboard as well. That's why I've got the sort of tape ends on the other one. I don't know if I've got enough room to use that one yet. One more. But it's made just a difference. It made, like, just having. They don't. I mean, I'm not talking. I don't go through, you know, my guitars, they're polishing them with metal polish and all that. I just want them to look a bit better. They look crap when they're all scratchy. Just doing this very quickly. Yeah, what a difference that's making. This time I'm starting at the 22nd, 21st fret, because it's really annoying when you're doing this, because you get bored. When you start from there, you get bored about here and you realise you're not even halfway yet, whereas at least this way, every time I move on to another fret, I'm gaining, you know, it looks like I'm making a distance. I mean, this, you can see why this sort of thing, you know, you're talking about your cheap guitars. It's like just looking at nothing but the specs. It's just like, okay, so this guitar has £50 worth of parts, but did they have somebody who's spending in there? And I know what I'm doing. I've done this hundreds. So you're talking about an unskilled person. I'm quite motivated as well. So if you're really bored doing a dead end job, and all you're doing is polishing frets, you've got to pay that person. And how much extra money do you get for your Harley Benton if it's the frets polished? None. So what's the point in doing it? What's the point in getting them set up? Do you get any more money for it? No. What if we just batter them all together and then just make sure people have got a good returns policy? So maybe 1 in 10 or 1 in 20 gets set back. That's significantly cheaper than paying somebody to make sure they all work. Plus you get the added bonus, oh there's a bit of a dink in that fret. Plus you get the added bonus of a lot of these guitars will be get bought by, you know, mum and dad for their kid. Buy them for Christmas. They have no idea anything about guitars. The kid has no idea about guitars. Plays it, doesn't even really learn to play the guitar because it doesn't really sound that good and it's dead difficult, but they don't know any better. Right, and then we're on to, where's my wee scabby bit of that? Put this oil on it. This is actually my pal bought 5 bottles of this by mistake. It's not actually lemon oil, even though it says lemon oil on it. It's mineral oil or linseed oil, but with minerals, with lemon flavour or something. And it's very flammable as well. Places used to burn down with this shit. If I just... Oh god, it's taking tons of it. Or maybe because this cloth's pure fucked. And if you look at it with the light shining off it, you can see where it's not matte anymore, when it's gone shiny, and you know that that's the bits you've done. I don't think I've done anything here that's on beyond the verge of, you know, someone who doesn't really know anything about how to work on guitars. It's just, it seems obvious, but you end up with your own wee systems. And the thing that I think more than anything else is the satisfaction of it. Because I know that I'm going to end up here with a guitar that if anyone, any mere mortal has a shot of, it's going to go, ah, that's really good, because it is. It will be. Well, I've got a Mexican Fender. I'm not playing that. I'll have a wee shot of it. Oh, that's really good. Yeah. Not that much difference if it's set up right. Once you're above that point, the point of when the guitar becomes a guitar and no longer just a piece of cloth, just to give us a quick. Whenever you take the strings off, always clean in below the scratch plate, because that's the only time you ever actually get in at it. Now this guitar is actually pretty manky. Yeah, this is getting normally this is the one that normally goes on there to stop the back of the guitar getting scratched. See, that's. I'll try some. I'll stick some isopropyl on it. Get a bit of chemical clean. I think the most common thing to do with these things is to get rid of the bridge pickup, put a humbucker in it. Which I have not decided whether that's what I'm going to do or not yet. Maybe I'll put it up for questions and answer in the comments. What do you think I should do with this guitar? There's a few things I could do. I'm going to talk about, I suppose. I could remember to put all the screws back in again, not just some of them. Why is that screw much shorter than all the other ones? Different, no, shorter screws for the scratch plate in the top. There you go. Than they are in the back. Did not know that. I didn't even notice that. Those marks on the front. I wasn't looking at it very particularly cosmetically. I was just looking at it as, you know, for functionality and whether I can make it into something interesting. And really, I'm totally no idea what to do with this guitar. Actually, I would love to sell it to somebody who was actually like to play the guitar, or somebody who wanted a wee modding platform. Although I will probably modify it. I'll probably put I've got one of them. A Temu hot rail thing. Why'd you put humbucker on the bridge? Because you always put humbucker on the bridge of a Strat. You just do. That's it. And I can't really be bothered cleaning the knobs. The thing about the knobs is the knobs can come off, and I always put it up at 10 and then put the 10 at the top, or the 10 pointing at the bridge pickup. Tone, volume, just soapy water probably does this much better. I can't bother. I want to play the guitar. My patience has ran to the point now where I just want to. I want to see if it works. The other thought, which I've not got to yet, is that wee £11. It wasn't £6. It was £11. A wee Temu fuzz pedal. What do I put it there? Like most of the inside of the pedal is where the jack sockets. So that's us at 10, and then The fretboard, does it need any more oiling on it? Not really, it looks pretty good, pretty good. The outside of the body I can clean once it's plain, but the bits you can't get at, like the bit here between the tuners on the headstock, you can't get at that when there's strings on it, so you need to clean that bit. You don't need to clean the edges of the body. Right, are we ready for stringing the bitch? Really feel I could get the thing a bit, those pickups a bit cleaner. The thing is, it's totally James May. I remember seeing that thing. He was talking about something that was doing some car things. He was telling his cars that you clean it, then you look at it and you go, could I make that any cleaner? And if you could, then go back to it and make it cleaner. And then you don't stop until you can't get it anyway. You're just sitting there. You know, I'm sitting here rubbing my thumbnail with a thing round the pole pieces of the pickups. But what a difference it makes. You're not going to see it there, but you can see that the bridge pickup, which I haven't done, is that you can just see the wee bits of yuck on it, and that's just a case of just, you know, there's no elbow grease, spit and polish, etc. I'm feeling I'm not quite got the. I need to bring. I'm doing a little bit of intonation adjustment before I get any further. I just feel that's a little bit too far. That should be alright. Should be alright. Right. 36 minutes. Part 2, putting strings on the best cheapest guitar. Rock on!